Let's say 4 of 9. Page 4. Page 4. No, what is that, page 4?
Is that just?
two.
Page 2.
Bruce Girl says you want
Yeah. I got it.
This is-
Welcome to the November 10th, 2022 planning board meeting. Open meeting at 7. We're missing 2 members, so I'm gonna appoint Jack in Craig's place and Paul in Chuck's place. First on the agenda is continued site plan for all-purpose storage over on Concord Stage Road. And we have a representative here from Fieldstone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, those present in the audience. My name is John LaFave. I'm with Fieldstone Land Consultants. I'm here tonight on behalf of Patriot Holdings to show you the revisions we've made since our last meeting. Nate Chamberlain was not able to be present tonight, so we went over the plans today and I'm here in his place. Our engineering review was completed and addressed in August. And at the last meeting, we just had one hiccup, and it was the fire chief's comments. So we met with the fire chief, and for his comments, I'd like to point out on the plans. One of the comments he had was a turnaround. He wanted to see a turnaround down at the end for a fire engine. So we added the turnaround, and in order to achieve this goal, we had to shorten this building by 20 feet. So this building's 20 feet shorter. This allowed us to bring the retaining wall in closer, which allowed us to also drop it in elevation and straighten it out. So everything that came out of this is actually, good things. You'll see the revision right here to the retaining wall and the turnaround and the shortened building right up here at the northwest corner. You want to back over here so you can hear me? One of his second comments was he wanted to see the 1-hour fire rated walls, and we have no problems with having that added as part of this application. And then the last comment that the chief had was he wanted to see a 30-gallon cistern on site. And while we may not have needed a 30,000-gallon cistern, it was just in our benefit just to say if that's what the chief wants, let's just give it to him. So we've added a 30,000-gallon cistern. You'll note that there's now a sheet 9 which shows the cistern details, standard details that be sourced from Michi Products. Other than that, I think that everything has been addressed. So I'd like to see if you have any comments in regards to the changes we made to the plans.
That distance to the retaining wall, it's 15 feet, you've got for a measurement there at the closest point, looks like?
I didn't notice if it was labeled, but
One end's 15 feet, the other end's...
that's correct, yes. Yep.
We had talked to Nate about making sure there's a note on a plan saying that's to the face of the wall from the lot line, so to make sure the wall's pushed back far enough.
Okay, is it shown in the details?
I don't know, that's what I was looking at.
I mean, we can add that note to the plan if it's something you want to see. I don't have issue with that.
I just wanted to be clear where that 15-foot measurement was to, you know?
Sure.
Because it's a pretty thick line there that it shows for the wall, so it's... Yeah, I don't see no detail in it.
propose that we add a note to the applicable sheet.
I don't see it.
In the grading and drainage plan. So we have a note in that sheet that 15 feet separation shall be from the property line to the face of the wall.
The closest face of the wall would be the bottom course, right, because it sets back as you go up.
Yeah, we'll make a note and, I mean, if you want to do it right now,
No, you
take
just add to the
verbatim.
sheet and bring it back for, I mean, that's,
Okay,
I mean, you know, you want to come back here,
yeah,
the final plan, so the one that
Okay.
gets signed,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
pretty simple note.
And I believe you received the comments from the chief as well,
Yeah, I
correct?
got them right here.
Okay, because if you didn't, I did bring a copy with me tonight.
Do you have any notes on here about the buildings being broken down to the 2,500 square feet?
I don't have that answer. I believe that would be,
Firewalls, no, no section, no fire section is greater than 2,500 square feet, right?
yeah, I mean, once again, that note can be added to the plan as well. I know a date, I received some of these comments late, and a few of these notes I could have gotten on the plan, may not have.
Yeah,
So if you want to see that note, I'd be happy to add that one as well.
yeah. Just to, I mean, everybody agreed to it, I just want to make sure it's clear on the
Yeah,
plan. That's what's gonna
absolutely,
happen. Yeah.
yep.
And the cistern you've got on here. Normally we do is cistern, it needs to be a pre-construction meeting with the contractor.
Okay. That would be another lovely note we can add.
Make sure everybody's on the same page with that.
Okay.
And there's a note on here about
Can I just get your last note? You want a pre-construction meeting?
pre-construction meeting prior to construction of the cistern.
Okay. Okay, got that.
And is there any note on there about surety for the cistern anywhere?
That's just gonna be cement. That cistern,
Precast, yeah.
Yeah.
precast stuff.
Precast tanks, yeah.
They're engineered precast cisterns.
Yeah, this first set I have here is colored, so excuse me, we only have the first 4 sheets. I think you're gonna find that the cistern details is straight up cistern details.
Yeah, I saw that. There wasn't anything about,
So, I mean, if there's something standard you'd like to see as far as the surety.
what do we do with that, Naomi? If they get it all approved for the fire department prior to COs for the building, they don't need anything, but
That's what we did on the last, on the office door.
so you really have to put a note on there saying the cistern will be completely accepted by the fire department prior to the issuance of the first CO.
Okay. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's what I think, if I recall, that's what we did with that up there at Alpha.
Do you have a plan I can look at and steal the note from? Is it a particular application you have in mind? I'll make my own if you don't care, but,
Well, we did a similar cistern for a self-storage facility up in North Weare, Alpha Storage.
Alpha
Okay.
Storage just did it.
I'll take a look at that, and if I need to, I'll reach out to Naomi and see if she can steer me in the direction of that plan.
Other than that, they will pretty much beat this thing with a stick.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we did a pretty good job addressing everything, especially the chief's comments. You know, and they went and they met with him, and, you know, they're very receptive to everything he wanted, so I mean, I don't see any issues at this point.
Was the other note? Face of the wall, cistern prior to CO.
I got it right here. We're gonna go back through.
Was
We're gonna
that
note the
something
15 feet
fire-rated?
from the face of the wall to the property line.
Yeah,
We're gonna make a note regarding the 2,500 square foot building for firewalls.
Yep,
yeah,
that which is in the fire chief's notes.
I'm gonna make a note for a pre-construction meeting prior to construction of the cistern,
Yeah, that was right.
and then the final one, that the cistern will be completed and inspected by the fire department prior to a CO.
Any other board have any questions, comments?
No?
Any public abutters have anything to say about this? No? Okay, close the public comment period. The, I mean, all this we can
Yeah, it's condition of
approve
approval.
based on the conditions, so that he doesn't have to come back here again, we can just make sure they're there before we sign the plan.
We'd love that.
Is there a signature block on it? Yeah, there's one right there, okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we accept plans minus the notes for the distance from the property line to the bottom of the retaining wall, the pre-construction meeting for the cistern installation, and what was the other one?
Cistern prior to CO.
What's that?
Cistern accepted
Yeah,
prior to
and
CO.
so the
And the
CO.
firewalls, yeah.
Yeah, and the firewalls for the 2,500 square foot. And that we approve it and condition of those being sent to us and
On
updated
the
on
final
the
plan.
plan.
Yep,
second,
seconded by Sherry. All in favor?
Yes?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Yeah, Nate's gonna be jealous.
What's a quick?
They'll be happy. You guys gonna send along a notice of decision to me? We'll get the plans and put them to this weekend.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Next on the agenda is continued subdivision of Thomas L. Corrado on South Sugar Hill Road. We have Mr. Belanger here, I guess, for that.
There it comes.
I think we only had 3 things we needed to address after the last meeting. All I thought pretty minor. We got plans for you guys.
So you should have some updated plans, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, 6. This have 4 and 3. about the first page, it's the only change. Other than the grading plan. I think on this plan itself, on the first page of the subdivision plan, things you wanted to add was a protective radius easement for the well, which overlaps that 50-foot access, for the most southerly lot.
Right here. Yep.
Yeah. We talked about some buffer trees being planted across from lot 204, Barbara McCann's lot, to add as a screen for that driveway. We moved the screen to the driveway to the north, but they're concerned that the lights would still interfere with her house. So we put 3 trees on there. I put a note 9. It talks about 3 white pines, minimum 6 feet tall, to be planted to shield from the headlights. I think we left it at that the board was gonna check on the cross culvert and cleaning that with the.
Yeah,
road
we've,
department.
We haven't checked yet.
we haven't checked that, but we've made the DPW aware that there's a
Okay,
culvert
yeah.
there that they need to clean
Yeah,
up.
you guys like 2 weeks old now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
precisely.
yeah. So I guess he's got some stuff to look at too. There was a third thing, oh, the pond for the most southerly lot.
Yep.
So we changed the grading plan a little bit and added a basin here. This will be included in sheet G1, grading plan for that. What we do is add a basin over here.
Yep.
To hold that back a little bit before it rolls over the bank into that pond out back. And again, the driveway acts as a dam, cutting off anything going further down the road. And then also on this sheet, we showed the 3 trees across lot 204.
You put a note in there about using that dug well for irrigation only or something?
I didn't. I just threw the easement on there. I forgot about that. We can add that easy enough.
Yeah. Hopefully this won't take long, but I'd like to, you have this on PDF?
PDF?
Yeah.
No, yeah, not with me, but yeah.
No, I know it's not with you. You can get, I'd like to send a cop to Keach, Steve Keach, not Keach and Ostrom, Steve Keach, to just take a peek at it for the drainage. He'll be pretty quick.
Sure. Send it to you and you'll forward it to him?
Yeah, send it to Naomi.
Okay.
And we'll make sure that we tell them to limit his scope to, I hate to send it to the town engineer and not tell him exactly what you want him to do, because they start looking at the whole thing, and, we don't want him to do that. It's a drainage issue that we have here, that's the only reason why he needs to look at it. And we'll make sure that he understands that this culvert will be
Over and over
functioning
again.
at some point in the near future.
All right.
So that'll take a lot of the drainage problems away.
Yeah, actually, I think we'll have less heading down the road by the time this is done than there is now.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got one from my house plugged solid.
Any board members have any questions? Anybody from the public hear about this? Hopefully Steve Keach can do this pretty quick, huh?
It's still there.
I don't think,
Steven will apply.
he's, he should be able to get to it pretty quick. But it won't be, our next meeting, I think we'll have a meeting next week. Well, I don't think we'll hear from him by then.
Are we looking at a conditional approval tonight, or? I mean, this has
Well,
gone on
no,
quite
I
a
want to
while.
get Keach's weigh in on this first. That's why we got to continue to our first meeting in December. with Thanksgiving this month, it kind of,
Well, I understand that. I mean, this has kind of gone on a lot. I didn't know we had to have this reviewed by Steve. I mean, it could have been nice, we could have got it there ahead of time.
when's our meeting in December, maybe December 8th?
Right, will that be the last item? I mean, we
It
can
should- yeah,
set, we
as
can
far
set the
as-
bounds, and we've got
No,
stuff
that-
we can do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's, as far as we understand, that's the last item. I mean, everything else is, the culvert straightened out, we get the well straightened out. You get all
I'll
the,
add a note about the,
Old handout
What the-
we're talking about.
yeah, being, agriculture use, not
yep, yep, no, not domestic use.
domestic use.
Here,
Yeah, there's a drilled well right over here,
right there.
right next to the,
There's two
There
there.
are two items, right? You know, and then Steve.
How's it
Yes.
dug well and a drilled? Okay,
That's it.
the well is totally covered over.
yeah. Okay.
I mean, and setting boundaries, but setting bounds, if you get those in, then should be set with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple, we're not gonna do it for a couple weeks anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine, yeah.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Is there any reason we can't give him a conditional approval, just
Depends on what,
pending on what Steve, pending what
Well,
Steve says?
No, because if we don't continue it and Steve comes back, it says something that we gotta look at, then we gotta re-notify and everything all over again. It's not a good idea to do that.
Do we need to ask for an extension at this point? Your time clock and all? Or is there,
I don't know where.
this has been going on for a
We
while.
probably
Yeah.
should, just to cover our,
Can we have an
basis.
extension, please?
yes,
Thank you. Can we write it down, or?
just write it down on a piece of paper there, that's
All
all.
right.
I'll make a motion that we're gonna review this on December 8th,
Continue to December.
continue to December 8th.
And grant the extension request
Yeah,
for us to all to vote on instead of just Bruce.
yeah. Grant the extension in conjunction. I'll second it.
Just a 30-day? Don't they come in
That should
30,
do it.
60, 90?
30 should do it, I would think.
I would hope so, yeah.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
All right, thank you. So there was a drilled well, I don't know if you picked up on that.
I saw it, I was
Yeah.
looking, I was trying, isn't it over behind the house?
No,
Right
it's in
there,
front.
side by side. It was
Side
right
by
off the
side.
bulkhead.
It was
Oh.
buried a couple feet down, so.
And that's how come the pipe goes right out, looks like it's going out the same spot, they didn't go to dug well, because it
It's
is.
the same one.
Yeah.
I remember them putting the dead well, and I was thinking it was on the back side of the house.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Next, we have continued subdivision of
Pine Island.
Pine Island Realty. This is, we haven't accepted the application yet because it was incomplete. I checked with the planning board chair, and the application is incomplete because it does not show the limits of your property by not having meets and bounds around that.
Yeah, we talked about that last meeting. You
No.
said we didn't have to present you anything else.
No, I understand that, but that is a piece of land that, regardless of its use, it could be a swimming hole, it could be anything. I mean, it happens to be reserved for a cemetery, but just, if you eliminate the word cemetery, it still applies that you need to show, because that's a piece of land that you do not own. And we need to know where it is, because there are lot lines in there that bound that piece of land that you do not own, and you don't know where it is. We don't know how to apply setbacks to it. We don't know where you can put driveways or anything else without knowing where that piece of land is. The best option you have is to do a quiet title. If you can't determine where it is on the face of the earth.
You said you were
By
gonna,
meets and bounds.
you said you were gonna talk to the town attorney. Is there any input back from that we were
I
waiting?
did not talk to the town attorney, because after talking to the surveyor about it,
What survey was that?
Craig Francisco. He's with Bedford Design.
Yep.
It seems like you're angry about this.
No, I'm not angry, I'm not angry, I mean, we're
trying
here,
to figure this out.
two and a half years ago, we're at the same point with this.
I wasn't the representative.
No, I
He
understand.
wasn't the owner of the property either.
No, but
Okay.
it was here 2.5 years ago, and
was
we came to
there-
the same point, right here.
Was there an opinion rendered by an attorney at that point?
No, there was not,
You sure?
not that I'm aware of.
There was, the town did go to,
Lengthy letter.
there's a lengthy
Yeah,
letter. that-
I believe that was for the ZBA though, not the planning board,
No,
right?
it was for both.
Yeah.
It was for both. And quite frankly, I'm a little appalled
Have we
at
got-
the stance that you've made here about, you know, you told us you were gonna go to seek counsel, and you haven't done that, and you're saying that you're not accepting the application, but you cashed the check, so that's as good as.
That means nothing.
Maybe in your world, but it's not, it does mean something. So, you can't not.
Cashing a
accept-
check is not accepting an application. You have to pay for the abutters notices, whether the application gets accepted or not.
So, I mean, I look at it from the standpoint of, you had us come back here tonight because you were gonna have some kind of an answer, a direction of where to go.
Well, I do, I have a definitive answer. You have to clean up, you have to define that lot.
We have to work with the town to do that, though. You are the town.
How do you have to work with us? We don't know
Because
anything
you own
about
the
it.
property.
Yeah, that's a
it's not-
selectman, that's not us.
I said the town, but you're part of the
No,
town.
we're not the town in that regard.
You represent the town as
We
planning
don't, we're
board
not the
members.
selectmen.
No, you're not.
That's who you need to, the town, the selectmen own the property. They're the overseers, they're the signers of deeds, or all that, not the planning board.
So the town's position from the planning board is to seek quiet title.
If you can't determine where the land is, yes, unless you have another option as a surveyor. If you're willing to put your stamp on there, showing meets and bounds of that lot and showing where it is, then that's fine too.
We can show it per the tax map.
You know, a tax map is not a legal description.
Right, and there's no legal description for it, so I guess we have to seek legal counsel.
Where's this piece of land?
It's a little 20 by 20, we don't know where it is.
Well, we did do scans in 3 different areas to try to find this cemetery that is supposedly.
What
out.
cemetery are you looking at?
It's a white, I think the name was,
It's out
reference
off of
was white.
Weare.
Yeah, I mean,
White?
it's an old burial ground from 1865
Yeah.
that has been
What road is this on?
Stock Highway,
This is,
South Star.
114.
Old Town Road is over here,
Okay.
Daniels Lake is down here.
Yeah.
It's if you go south
The,
of,
the White Cemetery, I don't know, I don't think, it may be the same one, but there's a cemetery out behind a small cape down there.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's the one.
That's the spot.
that's it, out there.
Okay.
But it's
That's
not-
what's shown on
You
the
can't
tax.
determine where it is.
There used to be rocks, not headstones, but actually kind of round rocks
Yeah,
placed in that area.
He
That's all
paid-
they used back then, a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I
there's-
paid over $2,000 to have ground penetrating radar come down to find out where it actually is, and there's nothing there.
But regardless of what it was used for, it was accepted from a deed.
No, there's no deed for it that we could.
No,
find.
it was accepted from your deed. There was.
There was an exception from the
Exception
deed,
for it,
but there
right.
was no deed ever written to the town that we can find.
No, but because it was an exception to a deed in your chain of title, it means
Yeah.
you don't own it.
But, no, that's wrong. It's an exception for the right for somebody to access that burial ground. It's-
Burial ground with permission from the owner.
Right, and there was never a deed that we could find, correct me if I'm wrong, that the town ever gained ownership of it. And I think that's in the letter that the town has done in 2017.
I have no letter in here.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 pages long, and it was pretty intense review of the property that the town paid for back in that time.
And it was addressed to Chuck Meany,
Chip meaning.
Chip Meany.
He's no longer with us. He was the land use coordinator.
Right.
So if it's not in the file,
No, this is a file for this application, this isn't the whole file.
so I
mean, we-
don't know.
There is, I think, a brief description maybe, I'm not positive, in the 1888 history of Weare on that cemetery, I think.
Where would you find that?
I have one at home, but I, obviously didn't know this was coming up, so I didn't.
I mean, again, like Bruce said, a lot of it boils back to the selectmen. They're the binding authority to sign off on this. The other part of it is they're also,
But if
because
you,
of things, they are the trustees of the cemetery also. and it's-
little wrinkle in that, if the town has no ownership on it, selectmen have no.
We can't say it does or it doesn't, and, I think that's not for somebody to say unless they could bring some documented proof
Right.
Well,
otherwise.
it was
It's kinda-
never deeded to the town. It was always a burial ground, and all of a
It's
sudden.
deeded to the town, so if it's deeded to the town
never
someplace,
was.
well, we don't
There's a
know.
difference between burial ground and cemetery too.
Yeah, a lot of those were
Burial
not.
ground is.
Do you have a
is-
copy of the deed where it says it was
No,
accepted
I didn't
out?
bring a deed tonight.
I mean, that's,
Where it says it's accepting and reserving,
Yeah,
that's in every deed that you look at on this property, but, let me see if I submitted it. I actually do. Right at the end of the deed, it says, accepting and reserving from this conveyance, the cemetery on the premises and the right to pass and repass to and from it.
well, the right to pass and repass is
Is an easement.
passing over, is an easement over your land.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty common,
Yep.
but the accepting part means you don't own it, right?
Typically, but it was never deeded out, so you can't connect it to a deed out.
Yeah,
of
this-
Usually when you do it accepting like that, there's a deed referenced to where it's going to in the deed, and it doesn't have a deed, we couldn't find a
accept
deed.
deeds.
And there was never any forwarding deed beyond that one for anything remaining land or anything, or,
What's that?
and there was never any other deed other than the chain you've got right there for that one. There was no other deed for any, like, remaining parcels or anything like that that would fall in, or,
You look back far enough,
can I see that?
there was a 7-acre piece and there was a 10-acre piece. I think the 7-acre piece is down here where the multifamily is. So it was one big piece back, way back. This was the old road that used to come through. It went over Daniels Lane, or Daniels Lake. There's still some bridge abutments out there, and it crosses and ties back into Old Town Road, or I think it's Old Town Road, it's called. So this, in the older deeds, it talks about going along this old road and then going off of it. Not a very good description of where it's located, but it's off this road a certain distance, and this is where the town tax map showed it. We did explore over here
Oh.
because it's a higher area.
So was this, you said there was a 7-acre piece and a 10-acre piece?
Yes.
Was this 7-acre piece deeded off first, or was the 10-acre piece deeded off first?
I'd have to look at, go back at the chain.
Southward, this is Duncan's.
Because if this was deeded off first, then
Here. There's a 40.
it all depends how the 10-acre piece was. If it was remaining.
This would have been the 10-acre
Okay.
piece.
To here.
They were separate pieces back in the 30s.
This is
But when this was accepted out, they were separate pieces?
4-unit.
I believe it was accepted out on the 10-acre
separate
piece.
from-
I can't say that for sure. I don't have that deed.
It's been accepted out ever since
Yeah,
1865.
somewhere in here, it's supposed to be way out here someplace.
Just to reiterate, we're here to try to solve this
Yeah,
problem.
I understand that, but I don't think,
And we're here to work with the town, and we thought we were doing that. You were gonna go get some opinion, and it's great that you talked to another surveyor, but that isn't what we were told at the last meeting.
no, I know. The, have you looked at doing a quiet title action on it? Considered it? Talked about it?
Well, the problem is that you can do a quiet title on it, and then what happens? I own it. You're in the same boat.
Well, then it's a different story. Then at least you know the land is yours. Then it's a matter of trying to determine if there's anything there. It's two different, there's really two different issues. It's not just one issue, it's like two.
But they can't disturb that if it's designated as a
Right.
burial ground.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Cannot disturb that.
I know you've done how many places in that general area did you do the ground penetrating?
So, I can show you better on this plan here. So, last spring, he had it done over here where initially, when this plan was in front of the board 4 or 5 years ago, the surveyor showed something over here. He did that ground penetrating radar in that area. It's where the headstone is on the ground, but it doesn't look like it was originally placed there. It seems like it was picked up and moved. And then the tax map shows it over here. So he did one there, and then we went back out later this summer and did a bigger area, because this area on this property looks suspicious. It's round, it's up, it's got some mounds, thought maybe something might be there. And again, nothing, they didn't find anything. That doesn't mean
Well, it probably isn't anything left.
150 years ago, it wasn't
Yeah,
something
it's
somebody
probably
wasn't put there.
Huh?
Probably gone.
It all collapsed in on itself, so there's no, because they're just looking for voids in the ground, and there might not be any voids.
Yeah, it's not like a modern cemetery, I mean,
So what we
rotted
saw,
away by now, I'm sure, over 100 years ago.
so what we're showing on this plan is this cyan line is 25 feet outside of that scanned area, and this cyan line is 25 feet out of this scanned area on the property that we would propose as no disturb areas.
Which is kind of what I was gonna suggest, when we get to that point, but I mean, first you have to, because it was accepted out, I think you really need to do a quiet title to be able to remove that language from the deed.
Why would you remove the language?
You don't want
You
to.
can't.
Because you want to still leave the rights for if a family.
Well, you wanna leave the rights, but you're not accepting out that little piece for this. That's why you do the quiet title.
I think you might be a little confused with it. It still has to be, you still have to be reserving that right to pass and repass for,
Which you can do that still.
If you've got a headstone that's there, my general guess would be, and probably on the safe side, would be mark out an area 20 by 20 where
And that's.
that headstone is
That's what
sitting,
it
and that would be a spot that would be probably somewhere marked out or surveyed, and, I mean, it's,
We can definitely put tie lines to other
Yeah.
property corners and mark out that area with bearings and distances where that, because that's where the headstone was found on the ground.
But that's not
That's
where
not
it is
where
on the
it's shown on the tax
tax
map.
map. It's,
That's right.
but I've been to it. It used to be directly behind that little cape.
Yeah, the cape's right here.
Right,
And that would be directly behind it, but the
Right.
tax map shows it
over there.
down the wall.
Yeah.
again, who knows how accurate the tax maps aren't always accurate.
not.
either. So,
It's
that's why we were,
I don't know if there's a description. I'll look in the 1888 history tomorrow, and if you give me a phone number, I'll call you and let you know if there's any information there or not.
because that's why we were proposing, none of any of that area has anything to do with any kind of development. You could put it right across the top of the whole thing of a no-touch zone. It wouldn't matter.
Well, I've had to do that before myself. And we picked a
How did,
big square, and we said, this is a do not disturb area, no buildings allowed, and, you know, whatever. But there wasn't a situation where part of the property was accepted out, like this is, which is the quiet title problem. Because I mean, if it, I mean, it could say watering hole in there instead of cemetery, it wouldn't make any difference. It's still something, it's still a piece that's accepted out of the deed. The cemetery issue is separate than a little piece of chunk of land, even though it's not saying
This is really,
what it is at all.
this is really the same conversation we had 2 weeks ago.
No, I know, but, and I've talked to the surveyor, and you gotta,
That's somewhat erroneous, because if you're talking legal boundaries, then you should have talked to the attorney like you said you were going to. Because otherwise, you're just wasting everyone's time all over again. Yours as well.
they built a house up on Maple Wall, and directly behind the house, and I don't think it's more than 25 or 30 feet. I don't know how that was done, but,
I mean, that's them, this is now. I mean, we're in this, who knows how that one was done out.
I know, I'm just
It could have been already
curious.
marked out, so it's,
yeah.
And I mean, somehow or another, the town got their label on it that says it's theirs. So we do know who owns it then, if that's the
Oh,
case.
we know who owns it, but we don't have a legal description of it.
So the town would have to be involved with a quiet title if they don't want any ownership in it, then, I don't, you know. That letter, you should really look for the letter that was done by because the town probably spent a good amount of money.
I don't know where he would have put it, I just went and looked in the file of 10921, there's nothing there.
Yeah, we can provide a copy to you.
and the other
I
thing
don't know
is,
where he would have even
well-
put, because if they
Probably do it
came,
right this minute.
if they came before us, I don't know where that old folder
could
went.
be in, well,
The file's pretty thin in there.
Yeah,
it went to zoning,
I was gonna bring a
CBA too,
copy.
but here's the other thing, we also had a purging of some of those, not by purpose, by somebody else's design from before.
I don't think it
They got lost. Things got lost in there, so.
Does that mean that with that computer you got right there, if I actually had that letter, I can email it to you?
No, and this is live streaming the meeting.
Oh, because I'm sure I have that letter right here. I'll probably produce it pretty quick.
that printer out in the hallway's not Wi-Fi, is it, Naomi?
Here it is. It says it's the Charles F. Meany, Land Use Coordinator, and it's from Drescher and Darkmo.
Yeah, Bill Drescher, yeah.
He was our attorney, he's since passed away, so,
So I guess we can't ask him any more questions.
No,
yeah.
well, they may have a copy of the letter though down there, because
Yeah,
is
we-
the son running it?
No,
His son's not running it.
Oh, he's
His
not?
son's old.
yeah,
Oh.
it's been, there's a lot of
He's
opposites.
gone to Wadsworth and Sanderson, I think.
You want me to email it right direct draft to one of you?
yep,
I would say they're not Wi-Fi,
What, the printers? No.
the copy of it.
You want it in email, you want it in,
no, I'm gonna have you email it, I'm writing my email down here for you. Blurt it out across the,
Huh?
well, blurt it out across the room.
Yeah.
Well, that's happening. Can I give a presentation of what we're trying to do? And I mean, this is gonna be resolved one way or another, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead, explain what you're trying to do.
So Scott Franco is from New Hampshire Land Consultants, Chuck Sargent, the owner of the property. Here, we're proposing a 3-lot subdivision on 10.7 acres and 990 feet along John Stark Highway. There's an existing house, a well behind it, and the septic up front. It's a rented house right now. There's 2 driveways currently, one for the house, one for this back land. And when it came through the process 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, DOT did approve a 3rd driveway, so that's gonna be, we're gonna propose a driveway over here for this lot. The land is partially wooded and there's 3 wetland areas. There's a larger wetland area up here, part of it's very poorly drained. The outside is poorly, and then another one over here with a section that's very poorly, and then another section over here that's very poorly.
type it right in there.
The 3 lots, lot size is 84,000 plus. They meet all soil type groups on each lot. Lot 21.2 is 5.09 acres or 362 feet of frontage, stopping right here. It has about 173,000 square feet of upland. Lot 21, we left the parent lot number with the existing house and shed. It has frontage of 307 feet and an upland of over 100,000 square feet. And then parcel 2.3 is this one, the most southern one, with 311 linear feet of frontage and upland of 103,000 plus. The setbacks, of course, as you know, are 50 feet from the wetland, 75 feet to the septic areas where we've done test pits, and then there's a 25-foot no disturb buffer that we're showing in the cyan. The driveway that's existing for this lot isn't within the 25-foot buffer to the wetland, or if we were to designate this as part of a potential septic or cemetery area, it wouldn't impact that 25-foot area either. I think I might have spoke wrong on the septic. This is a sandy soil, so the setback is 125 feet. These 4K areas meet that. Like I said, we did ground penetrating radar for the cemetery, 2 spots there, and then a larger one this summer here. The only thing we found there was a bee's nest, unfortunately.
Was it a bee's nest?
Yeah, I was running out of there. And I think that wraps it up. Like I said, we did test pits on all the lots. We did one on here because we're gonna have to show a well, another well look, or they got a dug well up here and they got another artesian well here. So we kept that well radius completely on that lot. We'll have to show a 4K area for the state for that and for this one. And this one won't have to go through state sub because it's over 5 acres. Like I said, DOT permit was issued on the last round. It expired, so we have to reapply for it, waiting to at least get the application accepted here before we apply for it. But these are rough, those two are existing, and this is roughly the same location that was approved before. So shouldn't be an issue to get that. State sub shouldn't be an issue.
You got all the disturbed area all back shown on that? Whether
What's that?
I can't see that very clear. Have you got the disturbed area that's been cleared of vegetation, everything out back, all shown on that?
This here is the edge of gravel that we shot.
Okay.
And then you see the slope.
Is that gonna be a building site, or is it gonna be reclaimed, or?
It's gonna be a home site, right? Yeah. So everything will be reclaimed in that area.
It's part of the home site
Yeah,
development.
Yeah, make it a flat.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom, one last thing is the wetland scientist on this is Tom Sokolowski, who lives here in town.
Yep, yeah, we know who he is.
If everybody is familiar with the area, but if not, Daniels Lake is here, multifamily's here. One of the abutters was here last meeting, that lives in that house, recently purchased
You've
that.
got the 250-foot shoreline,
Yeah, we're showing it.
goes right through that cleared area, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And that's from Daniels Lake. Out back. We'll take the
Right.
edge of that up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Technology does work.
Thank you for having that with you.
We didn't have to email it to you.
And this, if you look at
22.
page 7 of that document, you sent page 6.
Page 5, start seeing legal status of cemeteries.
Yeah, yeah, but look at the
22.
analysis, look at the analysis on page 6.
I did look at that, too.
And then on page 7, while the applicant surveyor may be commendably attempting to establish some certainty of this, to the situation, the planning board is not the proper venue to accomplish this. I really think you need to work with the selectmen to clear that up. And who are now the cemetery trustees.
Because some of this verbiage in here was, however, it was when my son owned it. Whatever that other engineer did is focused on what he did and not,
No, I understand that.
Right.
But the problem, that analysis problem on page 7,
no,
really,
I read it.
yeah.
I read it.
really puts it in a nutshell.
So then, well, I guess at least we have some focus on what direction to turn now.
Yeah, and I think you gotta,
So who in the selectmen do I talk to work with this?
We got
The
two
whole
of them right
board.
here.
The whole,
No,
no,
not anymore.
Oh.
It's, that didn't get
No.
covered up. You'd have to talk to the whole board.
the whole board.
Yeah. And when do you meet?
Monday nights.
Yeah, Monday. We're not meeting until what? What's 21st?
We meet the first and third.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in reading that, it goes, yeah, there's a certain point that, yeah, the town will have it, then there's a certain point where maybe they don't. I mean,
Well, that's why I said the.
dating, it's still, it never showed a, and I understand what you're saying, and I understand that the Attorney Drescher turned around and looked at it and has the whole timeline from back in the 1800s,
Naomi, could you do me a favor?
and it was never showed or anything was conveyed as from this one to that one, this one,
Could,
private name, so.
Did you send us a PDF of that?
Yep.
Could you forward a PDF of that in this letter to Laura? She's our town attorney.
And who should I send the PDF to? I didn't,
He has my email now.
I do?
Yeah, I
We got
just sent it
somebody?
to myself.
Oh, I didn't, I don't know that I'll find it.
No, I can write it for you.
But now that we have this letter, which I wasn't aware
Which you
of,
paid for at one point.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this looks more like it was going before zoning, not so much.
It was going before zoning.
Yeah,
Well, it's because of the difference of however it was that they were trying to do whatever they were trying to do
Yes.
before.
yeah, so that went to ZBA, it didn't go to,
And maybe she'll have a chance to weigh in on that before the selectmen's meeting, so you could
what's that?
go, maybe she'll have a chance to weigh in on it before the selectmen's meeting,
The attorney?
yeah.
Well, I mean, I was hoping that that's what was, I mean, we've made some progress here, but I mean, I was hoping that that was gonna take place so that we had some direction.
Yeah, I mean, until that is settled, our hands are kind of tied.
And that's good. We're
You know,
here to work with you and get this resolved.
and
because
she
sounds
might
like it
have
was
some
an issue
creative
of-
way to, there's always more than one way to skin a
I mean,
cat.
this,
She may have some creative way to resolve the issue based on
Lot of-
everybody
Lot
agreeing
of
to
lawyer
something, you
language
know?
in that.
I've actually talked to a couple of attorneys over the past 2 weeks myself, so I mean, I have some sense of where it's going.
you know, it's in Attorney Drescher's letter, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty well spelled out where this thing's located. I mean, if you look at the description of what it shows, where, you know, so many feet from here, so many feet, and it's probably about somewhere in where you think those headstones are, but just looking at it roughly. So I think if
I
you
didn't even know that was.
kind of get that part of it out and follow whatever's markings in here and mark that area out, you know, that might give you a better handle on it. You know, it's tells you what the easement is, tells you where the
So-
corner of it's located, what the cemetery's supposed to be like.
So because you got some work to do with the selectmen stuff, do you want to withdraw this application until,
No, because the fees are already paid, so I think it continue on it.
I mean, ultimately, you've seen the plan and all of that stuff, I mean, it's really a matter of just getting that situated.
well, pretty much get in that situation, then we can review the plan fully in depth, I mean, but overall, I mean, initially, the plan looks,
Yeah, it's pretty
Straightforward.
Yeah, pretty simple.
I think it's better to continue it than to try to resubmit it and renotice it, and,
okay, so, I mean, I'm giving you that option, that's what I
yeah.
was asking.
We wanna do
Fire
that.
away, go right after it. That's what I say, yeah.
So if you could meet sometime in, when's our meeting in December, December 8th? But you said it's not till the 11th, the selectmen's meeting, so it have to be after that.
21st.
21st.
You wanna give them a
This
60-day
month,
extension?
21st we meet.
No, we don't meet 21st of this one.
No, not you.
Select board.
Selectmen.
Oh, selectmen. Okay.
So
So
do
do
we
you
have
want to
to?
continue this until the 8th and see how you're doing with the selectmen? December 8th?
Yeah,
Somebody want to, that sound okay with everybody?
when, do you meet you meet every 2 weeks?
We're meeting next week
Okay,
because
you're
of
not gonna-
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We have a meeting next week?
Yeah,
And we aren't meeting until after you guys meet.
Right.
So,
right.
But I would think that we probably need that, so does that become 4 weeks? Is that?
Well, we're meeting the 21st with the select board, and then we'll come back here on the 8th of December,
Right. Which,
because there's no second meeting in November.
that gives, but I would say that we all should have a pretty good handle on.
Well, that will give us more than 2 weeks after the select board meeting
To
to
see what you can do.
understand what happened at the select board meeting.
Yeah.
And do we have to contact the town to set that up, or is that good enough as? Okay.
yeah.
My new friend, she's in my email list.
Right, yeah.
Contact,
On your phone and
contact her for
everything.
your- for the
Oh,
agenda for
boy.
the selectmen, that's who we'd have to go through.
So you own the property, right? You own that property?
Yeah, I'm the,
So do you have a problem if I find something in that 1888 history that I walk down and see if I can walk into it? Of cemetery?
if you find something, you call me right up and I'll go down with you. And
I don't have your phone number, I have his.
He's gonna give it to you.
He's gonna,
Don't
all
yell it
right.
out across the room.
Yeah, don't yell.
You're on TV, so the whole wide world will ever get your phone.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, I can write that.
Someone want to make a motion?
Would you want to give them, what, a 30-day extension?
No, not yet. We haven't accepted the application yet. We don't need to.
Oh, okay.
Move to continue to
Clock doesn't
the
start.
Oh, I thought the clock was running, okay.
8th of December.
8th of December.
Yes.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
You made the motion?
I did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you want this copy of the deed back?
Thank you.
what, no,
No.
those are our copies.
Naomi made a bunch of.
No, that was
Is there one,
this.
is there one in the packet?
No. I have it? Good.
Well, it-
Okay.
Yeah, we won't have a bunch of them, but you
Yep.
can make it.
No, perfect.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah.
Last but not least.
Huh?
This is now we got, what, the conceptual?
Yes. Okay. Now we have a conceptual for regenerative roots. Andrew Moran on Concord Stage Road.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I got that already.
Thank you for your time. I know it's been a long evening for everyone, so I'll try to be as terse as possible, but it is an introduction, so I kind of wanted to
Yeah.
let you know a little bit about the organization, what we've been doing in southern New Hampshire, and some of our tentative plans for the plot in question. So my name's Andrew Moran. This is my partner in crime. He's a teacher at the Alvern Horticulture Program. Well, actually, the Wilbur Palmer CTE program, I should say now, William Goulding. So Regenerative Roots is a 501c3 registered nonprofit organization. For the past 6 years, we've been developing community farms, local food hubs, and associated programming at the local high schools. Most of this is in Nashua and Hudson. So we currently manage 2 sites totaling approximately 8 acres, where we provide at-risk community members and young entrepreneurs land and resources in order to grow their own healthy food in a positive environment. Our efforts right now produce approximately 10,000 pounds per year. Only requirement is 10% has to go to a local organization addressing food security, since it's a National Children's Home. So we've been doing this farming for quite some time. William has his ornamental horticulture degree from UNH, and we've been doing this again for approximately 6 years. Been saving up for the past 3 years to try to find a plot in Hillsborough County in order to purchase, in order just to secure some land tenure. And approximately a month and a half ago, we purchased the plot in question at 0 Concord Stage Road, tax map 403, lot 19-4.
0 Concord Stage Road.
Right after Eldon's old house. and the-
There's a map there that should be able
Oh,
to tell you
okay,
too.
that field.
Open
Y-
field
Yeah,
down.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the field between towns and,
Oh,
Yeah,
between
probably about-
Steve Roberts,
And
Yeah,
John's old
yeah.
house, yeah.
What is that,
Oh,
like a
okay,
5-acre
zero?
parcel?
That's,
Well, there's no house number, there's no house.
there's no number assigned to it.
yeah, so that was one of the questions that I was hoping to resolve today with the board, is hopefully getting your approval to get an address there, so we could kind of move forward, because we're gonna need an address in order to get electricity ultimately run to the site. So, rough vision is pretty simple. We're gonna be planning on leasing the approximately 2 cleared acres to 2 farmers to grow a diversity of annual crops. We've also had some thoughts about potentially having some edible perennials such as fruit trees or berry bushes on site. In order to do so, we would need to complete some necessary and reasonable farm improvements, including drilling a well, installing a pump, running electricity out there, delivering a shed that's hopefully has already been constructed by the Hudson CTE program that we have at one of our other sites. And completing irrigation on site would be approximately 2 acres of drip irrigation. Yes,
Isn't there a pond, a small pond?
there is.
That never goes dry, you know?
Yeah,
I don't
and,
know how it would work.
there's a little white spot right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
listed as waterfront property in this. in the
Was it?
Okay, you
I
just
laughed
need an
when I saw
umbrella.
So, I get a couple questions.
Sure.
So you say 2 farmers,
Yep.
so it's not gonna be 100 by 100 plots with 40 people out there?
No, nope.
No, yeah, because it kind of, I had the same question, because when it showed like community garden,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of
it's kinda what I
down by
was
the
thinking.
county farm down by the old
Yeah, a lot of
police
people-
station in Goffstown.
I guess a lot of people, when they, it's somewhat of a misnomer, because a community garden and a community farm have, I guess, similar purposes, but we try to have people that want larger plots. So, one family that we work at, we lease 8 acres to. So, yeah, we try to find places that have larger areas. It wouldn't be
So,
a large amount of people.
so when you say you need a parking lot, I mean, just,
It wouldn't be a parking lot, it would just be an area that we were planning on parking on the grass to the left, right when we come in. But again, that was just, didn't know exactly if we would need to do any improvements, but our intention was to have.
yeah, but
space.
you're not talking, what, 2, 3 cars at a time there, max, right?
Max would probably be 6 to 10, but I wouldn't think there'd be ever more than 2 or 3 generally, yeah.
Well, if you came in and pulled to the left, that's where the pond is, so you have to do the
Go
setbacks
to the
for
right.
any of that, because of
So,
the wet area.
But you don't think, this isn't something you need to gravel, this isn't gonna
Nope.
be, you're just gonna be doing this in the growing season, the summertime, right?
yep, just in the field, yep, that would be it.
I'm trying to figure out just what the scope is here. You know, and we have no problem with the farming aspect of it, you know,
Yep.
to do whatever you wanna do there, I mean, that's fine. The only thing I think we really need to look at is the driveway access, and and there's already a driveway there.
Yep, there already is a driveway there, we were gonna be planning
It's
on.
kinda narrow, so I didn't know how many people you were talking about, whether you needed to be widened to get two-way traffic, but what you're describing, I don't think it does.
I think at that point, though, it was used as access for a farm to get hay in and there, so you may have to, it's on a state road, so you probably have to contact Department of Transportation to have them see if there's any site radius problems, or if they want it wider than, or anything else in there, because it's, now you're gonna be using it more on a regular basis for a
Pretty
driveway.
open though, as far as,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
let them make the decision on that, that's their baby.
The,
The other thing I would say is a site plan, if they're gonna put a building in there and run electric.
Well, our plan
If
was,
they're gonna put a farm shed, I wouldn't be, I mean, how big a shed are you
How big
talking
is
about?
that?
oh, we could do a smaller shed if that was an issue, but it would be a 10 by 16 shed.
In the town of Hudson, that was like the lower, that was like on the lower limit, for it, before it turned into like a taxable.
Ours is 10, anything over 10 by 10.
It's all
I think.
taxable.
So, I mean, we were planning on.
200 square feet.
Yeah, 200 square feet?
Yeah, so
I
ours
thought
is
it was
100
square
and
feet.
160.
160, so it's,
Yeah.
And that's where we were planning on storing, any of the pump equipment and just generally supplies. Again, obviously, there'd be permitting and, anything else that we would have to go through if we're actually getting the physical improvements done. But when I talked to Romeo, he said I had to go before the board because this was, I guess, quote unquote, a commercial or business enterprise, even though
Yeah, but you're not selling anything there.
not selling anything on site whatsoever.
Okay, could you do me a favor?
Yep.
Could you draft up a little letter saying, we're gonna use this as like a benchmark letter?
Yep.
Once you get beyond that, then you may need to come back, but,
Yep.
I mean, I
I
don't
guess
think we need to see you, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If-
The major
if
request
it's-
we had was,
If you're gonna have little plots with a bunch of people there at a time in a bigger parking lot, that's a different story, but
Right.
that's not what you're describing.
no.
no.
Wasn't our intention what we're describing as the only thing moving forward. We were asking before the board at this time was to grant permission, and that's according to Romeo, in order to get an address. It was an unforeseen, when it was 0 Concord stage, I didn't know what the process to get an address, and I guess I need your approval before Weare contacts the state in order to give this plot an address.
It's the first I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, usually they assign it from,
That's what I was surprised.
So Concord has to give him the okay to do what he wants to do. So if he's gonna widen it or whatever, so.
yeah, so
Concord
DOT's gotta
comes
give
in.
them this,
You
yeah.
may have to move it, I don't know, cause that curve they go by, it's 50, but they go 80 sometimes, so.
Yeah,
Is that you?
But so.
All of us.
I'm kidding with that.
So if you go and do the state will tell you what the permitted use is, and they'll tell you if there's enough site distance, you may have to move it this way.
or widen
At
it.
that point,
Oh,
we
but-
we issue the number because it's based on a formula for 911 with so many feet.
Yep.
So the driveway permit has to come first, because they may ask you to widen it or move it.
Or,
for site
yeah.
Because the number's issued based on the driveway location, not the house
Right, so then
location.
Mary Ann will issue the number based on where the driveway is.
Yeah, so they may tell you, you may have to widen it, you may have to put a culvert in, who
Yeah,
knows
so
what they're gonna
get your
move it.
DOT permit, that should clear you with the driveway in the 911 problem.
All right, because,
that'll
yeah, I
gener-
thought
that'll
I
generate
thought
the
that's
number.
why it was coming before, here, but otherwise, I guess it's just an introduction to the town, and that's what we were, planning on starting next year.
Do me a favor, write a little letter saying just the scope of what you're gonna be doing here.
Yep.
Just what you talked about
I think
tonight.
he's got an idea.
Well,
Yeah, I
some
mean,
of it
it's
is.
pretty much in there, but, I mean,
some of
I
it
can, if you want me to detail it more, I can.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like you to limit,
I mean, I got-
put on there how many maximum cars are gonna be there at a time, type of thing.
Yeah,
But I think his plan is here, he talks
Yeah,
about.
but you
what he's
put, that you wanna put a well in, and,
yeah, and I know that all that is, we're gonna have to go through, whatever process there is in order to do.
And if
all
you
that.
go over like a 200 square foot building, then you'll have to come here for site plan.
All right, yeah, with that,
If you want to gravel a driveway or something, you'll have to come back here for site plan, if you're just gonna, I mean, not the driveway, but the parking area.
yeah. And I guess the last, just to kind of plant the seed, so to speak, is we are working with Revision Energy. It's in the rough
That,
plan
you're
that
gonna
I
have to
did.
come for a site plan.
That, yeah, I figured that we'd have to come for a site plan. I didn't know, if you knew if a special exception or a variance would be needed for this zone, if we'd be going before the selectmen for that. I know there'd be quite a process, and it would just depend on if we get the grant funding from the Public Utilities Commission. I'd give us about a 50% chance of receiving that grant, and then Revision Energy would be helping us with any of the engineering or whatnot, so, I didn't know if there was any recommendations or
Well, if we have-
ideas or whatnot, to develop a potentially half-acre solar array on site.
Is it gonna meet the building setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to,
So if you meet the building setbacks, you don't need
yeah,
a
then you don't need
ZBA.
it, no, then you don't need it.
all right,
And I mean, you have to come here for a site plan,
yeah,
but I don't think if you can meet the building setbacks, 25 feet and 50 feet,
yeah.
then you shouldn't need to go to the ZBA, because
Yep.
All right.
Why do they come here for solar?
structure is considered a structure, because it's gonna be a ground-mounted array.
Yep.
It's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's not a pole, it's not on a pole, they're talking about a big ground mounted array, like rows of them.
Yeah, they just,
Yeah, a half acre
Yeah.
array.
yeah,
Yeah.
just,
Fresh Start Farms in Dunbarton's doing one now, and they got the grant, from Revision, so we're optimistic that we could.
Yeah.
here, Romeo just.
All right, so that's, I guess,
Romeo
about
has
it
to
then.
inspect it for the electrical part of it anyway, that's buried underground and so forth, so.
And I mean, I don't have a problem somehow getting it through to Romeo that it's okay for him to put a meter socket out there to run a well and some irrigation pumps.
Yeah. All right,
That we would like to store inside the shed.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can do anything you want in the shed. I mean, I recommend you don't store anything outside. It's a pretty
Right.
inviting site.
Yeah, yeah, and we're not, and I get, we're not planning on trying to make this on Route 77 a huge commune with, 50, 100 people in little sites, in little gardens. Yeah, so trying to work with the town and try to have something that's more beneficial for it.
You already have two, I think you mentioned two,
We lease 2 farms in Hudson, New Hampshire.
yeah.
Yep, so we're gonna continue to lease those. Yep,
You don't have anybody that has asked to lease this at this point anyway?
no.
No?
We might, honestly, with I think the time that's gonna take in order to do the necessary improvements, we might not even have anyone grow there to 2024.
Yeah.
So I really wanna work with, UNH and try to find, 2 really good leases that'll take care of the land and that I don't have to oversee every single day, if I'm being 100% honest.
Yep, nothing like being a landlord.
Spoken like somebody that knows.
Yes.
But, well, thank you for all your time then, and,
Yeah.
I can get you a more detailed letter as well.
Yeah, just so we can have it for the file.
Yep, yep, and then just contact the Department of Transportation then, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
You have yourself a good day. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Got a set of minutes from October 27th. Everybody okay with the minute?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Was I at that meeting?
No.
No. I didn't think so. I'm staying.
Carrie's abstaining since he wasn't at the meeting. Minutes are accepted. We had previously determined that we were not gonna have a meeting next week. But, CIP has done their with the CIP plan for this year, and I think we need to hear it out, have it presented to us
That'd be your only thing.
before the first of December or something. So it'd be beneficial if we would get that done next week.
Okay.
Jack Gibbon will be here doing it, probably take a half an hour. That's the only thing on the agenda.
That's the only thing I would put on there anyway.
Yeah. If everybody's okay with that?
Mine's well, and I appreciate that. The town calendar, not the calendar, the schedule on the planning board website shows that you're not meeting on the 17th, that's why I kind of panicked.
Damn it.
It said 24th, holiday, no meeting, and I'm like, wait a minute. So Jack and I are gonna finish up CIP on Monday.
Well, we probably should make a motion to have a meeting next week to,
I move we
Yeah, the
meet next
CIP.
week to receive the CIP plan.
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We'll have a meeting next week, anyway.
Yay.
So we want a motion, bud?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're done.
If you go real,
Get that first,
Oh,
otherwise we screw it up.
oh, that's it.